Hello, my name's Tim. Welcome to Tim Burbage Reads, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my top 10 books of 2025. So I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, so we have a little bit of time left, but I'm kind of in the middle of some books and I don't think I'm going to finish them. So here we are. I've read 78 books this year so far. That's 23,642 pages, which is less books, but a similar amount of pages to last year. So I have a lot of those books, and a lot of my 5-star reads actually have been children's books. So I'm going to make a separate list for those people who are interested in that. So you don't end up with like mixing kind of genre and audience in here. But here are my top 10 books, right? At number 10 is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So I did this mainly on audio. I did also have it on Kindle, which I kind of flicked through, but it was mainly on audio. And what did I like about this? I loved the atmosphere, the house, the fact that Jane Eyre honestly had such a horrible childhood. That was incredibly dramatic to read, and really, really good. Plus the mystery element. I knew what the mystery was. I really enjoyed reading that though, in terms of trying to see the characters, try and figure out what's going on, and try and see Jane Eyre, try and figure out what's going on when the house seemingly has an extra occupant. Let's just say that. Why isn't it higher up in the top 10? The final section where another man appears it really dragged. Like, that's not the bit of the story that you really remember. But it did take up quite a lot of time of the reading of it. But still, yeah, a classic. I'm really happy that I read it. And I've read Wuthering Heights and I've read Jane Eyre. So I'm making my way through the Brontes and I'd like to continue. Number 9 is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. So this I read, I just can't find the edition anywhere in my house at the moment because it's Christmas and the house looks like a bomb's gone off. The house always looks like a bomb has gone off in it, but at the moment it's bad. This is a prequel to Legends and Lattes. Legends and Lattes I really, really enjoyed. Bookshots and Bone Dust, we see Viv, the barbarian orc. She's at the start of her adventuring career and she has an injury because she kind of is reckless. And goes off and gets herself hurt. So she has to rest and recuperate, and she's worried about being dropped by this group of adventurers because she is like the new recruit. And she ends up in this tiny seaside town and becomes part of the furniture there. And it's just so cozy and warm to read. I love the idea of her trying to set up this bookshop. There's magic involved. The world itself is fairly light touch, but it's still there. You know what I mean? You could tell that there is other stuff going on outside of this world, but you don't have to have it all explained to you in this story because it's not relevant to this story. So hey, it's Travis Baldree. He has the 3rd book out now, Brigands and Bread Knives, which I think is a sequel to this one because it involves the main character that's not Viv. Who I'm not going to spoil because Viv is on the front cover and she's kind of the main character from the first one. I really enjoyed it. It's cozy, it's comfort reading, it's easy to read, but it's not that lightweight. So there we go. Number 8 is Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch. This is the first in a very large urban fantasy series, the English Dresden Files, where you have a PC on the beat, a Bobby on the beat, Peter Grant. He's there investigating the strange murder when a ghost starts talking to him, and he finds out about this whole new part of the Metropolitan Police, which deals with the supernatural, the magical. He learns a little bit how to become a wizard. He does some investigations, and the case kind of takes him all around London in interesting ways. The reason why it's called Rivers of London, and I think the book series is called The Rivers of London, is because you have the Thames is split between two ancient gods. Or one is very ancient, Papa Thames, and the other one, Mama Thames, is kind of new, and all the tributaries into the Thames are their children. This bit I absolutely loved. I love the idea of using this idea of old London and new London, and what does that mean, and London, how it changes over the centuries we start looking at here. And the case itself is pretty interesting. The humour is fantastic. The voice is really, really strong. The reason why it's not necessarily higher up on the list, Peter Grant does talk about women in not a great way to read. Hopefully that improves over time. And the case itself wasn't as interesting as the world building of the rivers, ultimately. But I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I can't wait to read more of the series. It's one that is a definite read for me. There's like a bazillion of them, which is a bit intimidating when you're like, oh wow, I could read just these books for like a year and still be behind. I don't know how many there are, like 15, something like that. That's quite a lot. But it was quick. I haven't read much urban fantasy until this year, and I really enjoyed it. And as someone who has lived in and around London, I finished reading it when the finale was in Covent Garden. I finished it while walking out of Covent Garden. You know what I mean? Like, I really, really appreciated that, being a local. Number 7 is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a book that's unlike any I've ever read, really. It's a rockumentary book, but it's fictional. It's about a fictional band called Daisy Jones and the Six, but the whole thing is told via dialogue, via interviews. It's just going along members of the band, and it covers quite a short period of time, only a few years, as this band comes together, produce a fantastic album under a heavy mix of sex and drugs and rock and roll, and then kind of implodes very quickly. In the grand scheme of things, the whole thing only takes 3 or 4 years. And they become everything, and then they disappear, almost. Very similar to Fleetwood Mac, I would say. A lot of the stuff is kind of taken from Fleetwood Mac, I would say. But the thing that really sold this for me was the way it was told. The way it was told purely through interviews. And then right at the end, the interviewer themselves become a character, which is really interesting. I liked how this played with how different people remember the same incident. I wanted a bit more of that, if I'm honest. That kind of unreliable narrator. But I really, really enjoyed this. Next is number 6. And that is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time manga by Akira Himikawa. This is, so this starts off, this is a manga, so you read it from right to left. It starts off in colour before it then goes into black and white. And this is the story of the Ocarina of Time from the N64. This is a game that I have so much time and emotions and nostalgia linked with, which I go into my video review on it. It's more about the game than the book, but the manga is fantastic. The art is a good mix of like comedy and drama. So there's like some stuff with Epona there. You kind of, for a kind of formulaic game of like, oh, you need to get the 7 things. So you go get the 7 things. In the game, it's really interesting. And here they kind of really accentuate the story aspects of it. And then right at the end, it just gets you in the feels, So there's the last panel there. So this was just fantastic. Akira Himikawa is the name for 2 women, one who do the writing and the drawing, and they work together on this. They've done a load of others Legend of Zelda books, and I really, really enjoyed this. I bought this in foils in London. It was quite a chunk of money. Yeah, it was £16, which is quite a lot for a book, but definitely worth it. Next is number 5, and that is The Chrysalids by John Wyndham. Wow, what can I say about this book? This is very short. It's only 200 pages, and it's told from the perspective of a child who has grown up in this world post-nuclear apocalypse, and animals and plants and people are being born with mutations due to the nuclear fallout. And this society that he lives in has gone the very religious side of what is human and what is not, and is very fire and brimstone on how to approach what they see as different. The thing is that he is also different, the main character. He has the ability to communicate telepathically with other children, but he has no physical deformity, so everyone thinks he's normal. And it's a really interesting look at how this society has grown. You get bits of information about the apocalypse, but you don't get a ton because the characters wouldn't know a ton. You also have this idea of outside their world is very small, and you see elements of things that are outside their world, which are really interesting, but only elements of. And the whole thing is told with a fantastic voice. This is Nuclear Apocalypse meets To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's so good. It's so strong. And it's only 200 pages. And to crank all of that information, voice, world building, tension into 200 pages is pretty impressive. Next is number 4. And that is Hell for Hire by Rachel Aaron. So this year, I wanted to read more self-published fiction, fantasy, sci-fi, and I've read a few. I might do a video on it if I have the time. On my journey into self-pub, there's a mix of reasons why people self-publish. Could it be it's just a vanity project? I mean that in a nice way of they've worked really hard on this book and they just want to get it out there so people can see what they've worked on. There's people who produce almost like TV episodes of books, short, sharp, snappy, find out what happens next week, to kind of keep your reader engaged. That's built for kind of the Kindle Unlimited space where you could just download the next one and just keep going. Or there's people who, and I think Rachel Aaron comes into this, is someone who is a strong enough writer to go through, to get an agent, to get a publishing deal, to sell her book loads. But she chooses to self-publish to make herself more bag, ultimately. But also, it means that she has the ability to control what she produces. So she cranks out 4 books a year, and she kind of does a series, does the whole thing, moves on. And Hell for Hire is book 1 in this series, and it is fantastic. It's about, it's set in a world, it's our world, it's an urban fantasy. It's mainly set in Seattle, where a witch, a male witch, has decided to try and set up a witch's wood in Seattle to try and fight off against this cabal of warlocks who are after him. The warlocks all work for Gilgamesh, who is the character from history, the ancient emperor, who has ascended to godhood and now controls the heavens, and gives out his magic, his quintessence, as he sees fit. And the witches kind of come from an older magic than that, and they're fighting against Gilgamesh. And to do this, he hires a group of demons, who is headed by Bex. These demons have been freed, and they're kind of working together to try and protect this male witch, to create his wood to get the magic off. And there's tons of other stuff in there. All the demons have history. The witch has history. They go through a lot of stuff together. The world building is incredibly clever because there's a reason why it's in our world, but we can't see it, us normies. And that's a really cool reason, and that reason is explored in the book. That you see how all magic is controlled in some way by Gilgamesh, who is off-screen kind of thing for this book, and really, really interesting to read. And the characters have a lot of stuff in their past that kind of affects them, and they think they don't, and they're trying to be stoic, and it's all falling apart. Fantastic read, great tension, great prose, really punchy, fast, fun. Fantastic, and I will definitely be reading more in this series. Next is number 3, and that is The Valley of the Moon by Jack London. So last year I read 12 Jack London books in 12 months, and that was a bit much. So this year I've read 3, and the top one for me is The Valley of the Moon. This follows two people as they kind of get together in California. They deal with union strikes. They deal with the city of San Francisco not being right for them, and they take the big brave move to go out and find their perfect farm. And they kind of describe their perfect farm, and the friend says, well, you might as well look up there because what you're looking for is the Valley of the Moon. And it's about the American dream, really. It's about two people going out and trying to find what's best for them. And there's lots of politics in there on what they find, what they discover. They discover rich people, they discover poor people, they discover scroungers, they discover people who are incredibly generous. But in the end, it's about the destination, but really it's about the journey of these two people. They both go through ups and downs, but their relationship stays really strong. They both go through a lot, and they're both there to support each other. And it's just a really nice read. Like, I really enjoyed it. Now, number 2 is Metronome by Tom Watson. This is a bit of a mind-bending book, this one. This is dystopian, technically, maybe. There's this couple, and it's set in the very near future. There's this couple, and they have done something wrong in the past, and as a penalty, as a punishment, they have been imprisoned on this island. This kind of windswept island in the North Sea. And in this island, they just have to live for years and years and years. And one thing that's strange about this island is there is like an algae or a moss growing, and it's in the permafrost, and the permafrost is defrosting. So this algae is coming out, and it's poisonous. It's incredibly toxic. It can kill you very, very quickly unless you take these pills that you have to take every 12 hours. And that's why this book is called The Metronome, because one, it's like the rhythm. You have to take this pill every 12 hours. You have to stop whatever you're doing, come back, and the pills come from a little dispenser, so you can't take like loads of them and go off and kind of take them as you have. They can only release one at a time. So you've got that rhythm of it, but also anywhere you go, you have to come back. Anywhere you go, you have to come back. So it's like a metronome, which I really enjoyed. And what you see is these two people, you're told the whole book from one perspective. It's a man and a woman. You're told the whole book from the woman's perspective. And you just see how living with two people in very close proximity could drive each other mad. The main character, Aina, is not nice. She's not a good person. She does bad things. She doesn't necessarily even do them for the right reasons, but she's a very fully rounded character. And you get flashbacks to the past on why they're imprisoned. There's particular themes which I think could have been really, really overly done, and they're not, and I quite enjoyed that. And then the ending, you see how things escalate. And the ending is ambiguous, and I really, really recommend reading this. It's just a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it, and I still think about it. Both in a, what would I do in that situation? Or what would happen in the past? Would I have done that? Would I have done something different? But also just thinking about the ending and how it all worked out. A fantastic read. And finally, my number 1 book of 2025 is Airframe by Michael Crichton. So this year I wanted to read some more Michael Crichton. It's one of my reading goals. And I've read 3 Michael Crichton books, and all 3 were 5 stars. You had Airframe, you had Timeline, and you had Prey. So why is Airframe number 1 for me? So I work in aviation currently, and so I know a lot about planes. I'm not an engineer, but I do know a lot about planes and how planes work and how companies in that space work. And this is obviously right up my alley. I found it so interesting. There are no supernatural elements to this. There's no time travel. There's no dinosaurs. There's no killer apes. There's no other stuff. Yeah. And this, I just found the mystery of trying to find out what happened, and the office politics, basically, the corporate politics and corporate shenanigans involved. I found that so interesting to read. Everyone involved in this book, every character is good at their job. They're all just trying to do different things for different reasons. So that's why there is conflict. Yeah, I absolutely love this book. It's my favourite book of the year. So there you go. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of those 10 books and what you thought of them. And if not, let me know what your favourite book of the year was. Please give this video a like. Please subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out of my house!